Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Batman vs. Dracula. So this came out in 2005 and it's based off of the W.B. Kids' The Batman. A lot of people have never even heard of this movie. Some have seen it, like myself. I was very fortunate back in the day to see this on I bought it on DVD. I don't know if I seen it on TV at first or not. It did come on Cartoon Network, I think the Tsunami thing, but I love this movie, and so I bought it on DVD. It's very good. However, I am still weirded out as to why Dracula is the primary villain for their first direct to DVD movie based off this television series that lasted for 5 seasons. Now, the movie takes place between season 2 and season 3. Because in the movie, well, it came out in 2005, and in 2005, 2006, that's when season 2 and 3 were and stuff. Season 3 takes place a little bit in 2005 in September, but this movie came out in October. Anyways, like I said before, it takes place between season 2 and season 3. Why? Because Detective Yin is nowhere to be found in this movie, and she was the detective in season 1 and 2. She leaves by season 3. In season 3, Commissioner Gordon shows up, and Commissioner Gordon and Barbara are nowhere to be found in this movie. They're still police officers, but none prominent that we know of. Also, Detective Yin's boss, whose name I forgot, he is nowhere to be found in this movie because he leaves after season 2 and stuff. It got kind of confusing by season 2 and season 3 of the Batman. By season 3, they wanted to go bring in more families of the Bat family and distance themselves from what the world they created, the universe they created, I should say, from characters people never even heard of and stuff. And then by season 4, they tried to go very into the Bat family and go more of an Adam West type style with the theme song changing and all kind of. It was one of those shows that just didn't know what it wanted to be. It tried to be different from Batman the animated series, but tried to be their own unique thing. And it's a hodgepodge of different things. Plus, they were also going off of the Nolan series because Batman Begins had just started around that time, so they were trying to also incorporate a little bit of that style into it. And it's very different, but it's a very unique and pretty cool Batman series. But still, like I said before, I am very weirded out as to why Dracula is the villain in the movie, because he never appears in the series. You'd think one of their primary villains would be one of the main villains. I mean, Penguin and Joker do show up in this movie, but still. But it was just kind of weird. Now, there was supposed to be a sequel movie, a second movie they were going to come out with, called Batman vs. Hush. But that got canceled. Then the person who created this show wanted to make a whole bunch of more animated movies, but that never happened. Their animated movies died with this movie. It had a mixed reception, mainly because people are still scratching their head as to why he's facing off against Dracula. There's never been a paranormal anything in the Batman. It's always been typical Batman villains and his rogue and aliens and stuff like that. So once again, why? Now Batman has gone up against Dracula in the comics. And there was even in 1964 and in 1967 Batman versus Dracula movie, but DC has no association with that, even though Batman is in it. So with this movie, like I said before, it's really cool. I enjoy it. It's pretty cool start to finish. And there's blood in this movie, which is something a big no-no when it comes to animated series, but they always get away with it in animated movies. Now, Reno Romano, he shows up again as the voice of the Batman. He was also Spider-Man in Spider-Man Unlimited, and he's also Batman in the Batman television series. And every character from that show shows up here. Now, Vicky Vale makes her first and only appearance in the Batman universe. Vicky Vale was the girlfriend of Batman in the comics, and she appeared in the very first Tim Burton Batman movie. She is voiced by the legendary Tara Strong, who was the voice of Batgirl in the new Batman adventures and stuff. And Harley Quinn in all the Arkham video games. And so this movie is very dark. It's very deep. It's very emotional. It pushes Batman probably further than any limit he's ever been in the series. The first time that's ever happened when he faced off against Bane in the first season. But yeah, this is no cakewalk for Batman, and he ends up getting his butt handed to him a lot in this movie. Not to mention, people assume he's Dracula kidnapping a bunch of people and stuff. So of course the police are after him and stuff. He also has doubts as to why he's doing this, if he can even defeat Dracula. All while Alfred is trying to give Bruce that of a normal life away from Batman. So he has a lot going for him in this movie. Also, this takes place between season 2 and season 3 because they had the original Batmobile. The Batmobile changed in season 3 to fit more like the older Batmobile from the older Batman cartoon series. See, they just never knew what they wanted to do with this show. They wanted to be unique and different, but then it was the fans who's all like, well, we don't like the shape of his jaw. We don't like that it's pointy. It's supposed to be square. So what did they do? In season 4, they changed Batman's jawline. And so I remember like they did a whole complete redesign on the villains and the way they look. Especially Joker. In the first episode, he wore a straitjacket that was green and purple. Fans like, we don't like that. So they gave him his traditional like purple tux. But this Joker is very unique. He has long flowing hair. He doesn't wear shoes. His feet are exposed. He does like monkey kung fu. When I said they did a redesign on the villain, they do a redesign. I mean, Penguin looks very similar to that Penguin look that he had in Tim Burton's and in the Batman animated series as well. But he knows kung fu as well, and he knows all these acrobatics. They really tried to up the ante with these villains to make them a threat. So basically, with this movie, it starts off. It's Arkham Asylum, and Penguin's there, which he really shouldn't be there because he's not insane, but whatever. So he's there, and he's talking to an inmate. The inmate needs to get out because he's buried treasure somewhere. And he wants Penguin to help since Penguin is used to escaping there. So Penguin's all like, he'll help, but tell him where he's at. He's like, all he'll tell him is that X marks the spot on the gravesite. So he's all like, you're a lot cooler than the other guy I told. And so he has to reveal who he told. It's the Joker. Joker's already escaped. And stuff. And so Penguin's like, crap, I want that treasure. So Penguin then like escapes and everything as a riot starts. As Joker escapes, the Batwave signals. Yeah, they didn't have a bat signal at that time, so Batman had the Batwave. It's like a computer system that's tapped into the crime network, and basically like whenever something happens on the police bulletin, it alerts him. And I kind of like that feature. It's kind of cool and everything. So, you know, he suits up. He does what he does. He's going after Joker. Joker lets him know straight up, man, I'm out for blood and stuff because I'm getting that treasure and you ain't going to stop me. They fight. Joker falls off a ledge into the water as he tries to electrocute Batman. His joy buzzer is like super electrified and he fries as he's drowning in the water, presumably dead. Batman is shooken by this. I really like how Batman has empathy for his villains. Like, he doesn't want to kill them and everything. So when Joker dies by Joker's own stupidity, he feels bad and everything. And so as Penguin escapes and everything, he makes his way to the crypt looking for the X marks the spot. But there, not that X, a cross. There's a cross on, like, you know, on where he buried the treasure at. But all of the, tombstones have crosses on them and everything. Well, anyway, he stumbles upon this one crypt, and there's a dead body in there, and it's pretty dead looking, but it still has its meaty flesh. Anyways, when he tried to open it, he cuts himself. The blood drips on, the corpse, and it resurrects itself. It is Dracula. I like how they resurrected him and everything. It would look very similar to the Underworld movie when Victor got resurrected and stuff. I really like that attention to detail. Of course, the corpsey looking vampire scares the piss out of the penguin and he takes off running, only to be hypnotized by Dracula. Basically, Penguin's entire story arc in this whole thing is a comedic minion. He's the butler. He does everything for Dracula and stuff. It is a waste of a character because he's a very cool character in a television series. So anyway, Dracula wants to know where he is, what's been going on. He thinks he's in Transylvania, but when he died, they transported him to Gotham. And we see a nice little flashback of the village people attacking him and attacking his wife Camilla and putting him in the tomb and everything, or a casket or whatever. And so they shipped him off to Gotham. So he wants to start up his new life. And Penguin tells him, oh, there's another Batman. You're not the only one. So he's intrigued and everything. Anyways, Bruce Wayne is hosting an event that Alfred forced him to. And Vicky Vale's there. And he's kind of dating Vicky Vale. They're kind of getting it on and stuff like that. And Dracula shows up as a normal looking person going by Alan Ducard and everything. And so he's there and he loves beef tartare and he's intrigued by Vicky Vale's look. He likes her and stuff. Anyway, he turns one of the waiter dudes into a vampire that was getting on Alfred's nerves. When Alfred sees him turned as a vampire, he freaks out. Anyway, Bruce doesn't like that somebody's hitting on his girl. And he starts to suspect some strange things about Alan Ducard. Now, in this version of the Batman is way too smart. He's able to figure things out within seconds and stuff. And that's something that always bugged me. And so he starts to realize that Alan Ducard only wants to eat raw, beef tartare. So when he tries to get him some garlic shrimp, he doesn't want to eat it. So anyways, after an exchange of manly Lovato, stuff like that, he hypnotizes Bruce and everything, and Bruce is getting ready to jump off the window, but Alfred stops him. Anyways, he's freaked out and he now thinks he knows who Alan Ducard is. He writes his name, Alan Ducard, out, puts it up to a mirror, and boom, it spells Dracula. Because Alfred's all that waiter that he doesn't like doesn't have a reflection. So Batman now knows he's dealing in the paranormal and everything. And so he goes looking for Dracula at some point. And so people start going missing. They're called the Lost Ones. Dracula is biting people left and right, and they are now biting people and stuff. But these vampires, they're not really seen by the general public. They assume Batman is the one snatching these people away because they saw a shadowy figure with a long cape looking thing snatch a person. But it was actually Dracula and the cape trench coat type thing that he wears. So anyways, at some point in time, Dracula now looks, he's been looking back like his normal human self. And he faces off against Batman at some point. Batman cannot hold his match against him, and he's doing his extreme best. But Dracula is whooping the snot rockets out of him. Well, at some point in time, Joker shows up. Apparently, he didn't die. It just gave him a lobotomy type thing. Or no, electric shock therapy, as he calls it. And he's in the crypt, and he wants the treasure. And Penguin is kind of he knows what's in the casket, and it's not money. Now, back to the Batman Dracula fight. I forgot to mention that when sunrise started to come, it made Dracula leave in the shadows, and he said he'll come back to whoop on Batman some more and all this other stuff because he wanted Batman to join him, but of course Batman said no. So now Dracula's back in the casket, and when Joker tries to open it up, there's Dracula, and he bites Joker. So Joker's now a vampire. There's a very, very vivid scene of Joker going to like a blood bank, breaking open all the vials of blood pouring, dripping everywhere. They muted the blood so it doesn't look like red blood and stuff. It has kind of like a brownish tint to it. It's almost like in black and white. It's a very cool scene and everything. And I can't believe they got away with doing that on a kid's like animated movie, but you know, they've gotten away with a lot worse. Anyways, Batman, or Bruce Wayne, I should say, is having a nightmare, recovering from his wounds. He has a nightmare of his parents and when he became Batman, you know, and that shadowy figure of Batman haunting over him. And he feels like he's a failure, and Alfred's trying to like tell him, you know, like you're not, and everything. I like this. I like the emotional depth to it. It's always great when Batman feels like he's a failure and reliving the tragic past that created him, you know. But he's all banged up, and you know, the Batwave goes off. Somebody attacked the blood bank and everything. And so he goes out there. It's Joker. Joker is just like, you know, like I said before, turned into a vampire. The whole blood dripping around everywhere. He's drinking and all this other crap. Dracula is able to talk to Joker. He's able somehow to subdue Joker and take him back to the Batcave. And so now he needs to find a cure and everything. And while all this, Dracula has been pursuing Vicky Vale and stuff. So Batman's trying his best to like create a cure and everything. He's using Joker's blood as like a template because it has vampirism like DNA in it now. He has this giant machine that emits solar radiation, UV lights and stuff like that. And he's trying his best to come up with some kind of cure from what he's been reading about folklore. He's failing left and right. He has only one sample of blood left, and it works, and Joker is cured and everything. And so Joker has no idea where he's at. Like, literally, he doesn't remember nothing except for going to the crypt and meeting Penguin and getting bit by some dude and stuff. So after that, he takes Joker to Arkham Asylum. And so he starts creating more of this cure. And he's getting ready to hunt these vampires because the vampires aren't really showing themselves. But he knows now where Dracula's location is in the crypt. And so like he's gonna wait until sunrise. That's his best defense. But he gets a voicemail from Vicky Vale, and she lets him know that she's waiting for him on his date because he forgot to go. And then she ran into Alan Descartes. Batman now knows that, you know, Vicky's going to be another victim. So all bruised up and nighttime, he's like, he has no choice. So he heads out and everything to the crypt. And so it's what you expect. It's Batman versus like a bunch of vampires. And he's taking them out left and right with the cure and stuff. And so, but why does Dracula want Vicky Vale? Well, of course, he wants another bride and everything. But he doesn't want Vicky. He has the ashes of Camilla, his wife. And he's going to resurrect her soul and put it in Vicky Vale through some magic, hoop-majoop type stuff, you know? So, anyway, Batman's curing all, like, you know, the victims, and they're turning back to normal. Well, he only has one vial left, and he's going to use it for Dracula. He stops like the spirit ceremony thing, and Vicky Vale's back to normal. This pisses off Dracula, so him and Batman, they fight. Now Batman was able to, like, you know, get back to the Batcave through the catacombs because the catacombs connect to the Batcave to the crypt. And so like he's desperately trying to get back to the Batcave because he's very weak at this point. And so, like, Penguin is chasing after Vicky Vale and everything. And so Batman is very, very close to the Batcave, but Dracula is on his tail. When Alfred hears the explosion, he sees Batman hanging in the air. It's Dracula picking him up and throwing him. The last antidote vial was he was unable to use it on him, I think. And so there's some more in the Batcave. So Alfred's trying his best. He shoots Dracula with a crossbow and everything with the antidote. It does not work on Dracula because he is the first, you know. So battered and bruised, Batman is still trying to fight, Dracula in the Batcave. It's a great fight and everything. And so when Dracula gets the one up on Batman, he's all like, "I'm gonna feast on your corpse and use your cape as like a napkin and everything." Batman lured him to where that light machine was, and he turns it on. And no, Dracula's kind of like, "Oh my God, you're Bruce Wayne!" Because see, when he was at that dinner, Bruce had like told him about this like light machine he has, so he now knows who Batman is. And he's like, "I'm not Bruce Wayne," and then he turns on the light show, and then his shadowy figures and like silhouette is shown. He does the cape raise up thing. He's like, "I'm the Batman." Dracula is like disintegrating and like burning to death, and Batman leaps high in the air and just like smashes his skull. And everything. It's like really cool. So since Dracula is dead, Penguin has now snapped out of his trance. He now sees the gold everywhere and he's going for that. But the police show up. So the police believe Penguin had kidnapped all those like people and stuff. And so he's going to jail for a long time. And so like it pretty much ends with Batman on like a rooftop doing his normal rooftop type thing. Vicky Vale is just kind of like she's never seen from like again in the whole Batman universe and everything. It was a really cool Halloween horror-ish type movie, and I can't believe how much they got away with all the blood and like Dracula getting like smashed and like burning to death and everything. But it was really, really awesome, and it's too bad they never made any more animated movies because they actually made a pretty decent and pretty cool like Batman series and stuff. I mean, it lasted for 5 seasons. Even Batman the animated series didn't go that far. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.